with my innermost prayers for the organizers and all the delegates from over 60 countries across cultures and continents. I'd like to share some of my ideas regarding Hindu resurgence. The who, the what, and the how of Hindu resurgence. Spiritual resurgence in any form. The fact that it is spiritual has to be natural and gentle, like the rising sun. It cannot be compelled or contrived. Spiritual resurgence has to be resourceful and useful. It cannot be forceful. Our spiritual head, His Holiness Pramukh Swami Maharaj, often said that spirituality has to be as gentle as a breeze. So both the followers and non-followers would enjoy being in it. The moment it becomes a force, the moment it becomes a wind, then naturally people would shut their windows and shut their hearts. Similarly, when we talk about spiritual resurgence, we need to be aware that it has to be completely natural. So far as Hindu Dharma is concerned, it is not coming back from non-entity. It is Sanatan Dharma, eternal, a living Dharma, a Dharma that has survived for millennia in the hearts and lives of people. Yes, of course, there may have been points in history where due to some constraints, it may not have the social, global influence that it once did. But because it was alive in individual lives and it is very personal, the awareness and the visibility of the Dharma can be raised in the best possible ways. Because it's personal and individual, spiritual resurgence is to do with quality and not quantity. Have you ever wondered why in our normal day-to-day lives we always look for quality and not quantity? We buy things because we feel they have quality, not because they are the most number of things available. We choose a car not because it has been produced the maximum number of times, no, because it's quality for us. Even food stuff, we eat things because we feel it's quality, not because they are the largest number of teacups sold. When in life, in buying things, enjoying things, looking for things, we search for quality and not quantity, then why do we always try and judge a religion by the number of followers it has? Millions, hundreds of thousands. Quantity is not essential for the worth or evaluation of any spiritual field. Quality is the quality of human beings that it is capable of creating. If we practice Hindu Dharma individually and personally, we'll be able to raise the visibility of the Dharma. Spiritual resurgence is visibility, credibility, and workability. The moment we raise the visibility of Hindu Dharma, the moment by living and practicing it, we raise the credibility of our Dharma. And the moment we introduce the values and prove to the world that Hindu Dharma works, workability, we will have a spiritual resurgence which we are actually hoping for. First we saw the what. What is spiritual resurgence? Now let us see the how. How can we bring about that spiritual resurgence? The most important thing is inform, reform, and transform. If you look at it, then most of the world is either not informed about the Hindu Dharma or ill-informed. As practicing Hindus, we have the duty to inform not just ourselves, but people around us. I remember years back, once I was traveling in the US and we were at one of the airports, and we had reached in time, but unfortunately the flight was not on time. And we were stuck there almost for 3 hours. We had checked in, passed the security, and as we were struggling, trying to just while away time in the lobby, I started thinking if I could go out and then come back again. Just as I was trying to approach the security officers, one very happy but huge security officer, and he happened to be the chief of security. He came forward and looked at us with our colors and clothes. He came close to us and he said, "Hey, excuse me, are you Hindus?" I said, "Yes, we are." He said, "Is that the religion where you come back on this earth again and again and again?" I said, "I'm afraid so." He said, "I like that. I want to come back on this earth again and again and again." Very gently, as I connected, we talked, and I said, "Sir, if you're really happy, then I have a small request." He said, "What?" I said, "Can we just go out and come back again? Officially, can you make a small facility for us?" He said, "Of course." Now, this was just on the lighter side, but I want to emphasize that there are so many people who are happy with Hinduism, but they are not informed about Hinduism. So I feel that the how of spiritual resurgence is we need to be able to inform others about the pure and peaceful ideals of Hinduism, whether we do it through discussions, through dialogues, through conferences, through research paper, through media awareness, whether we do it through special festivals, creating temples, reviving traditions, or whether we do it through any form that gives us a visibility and creates awareness amongst others about the purity and the importance of Hindu values. So inform, raise the visibility. The second most important part of the how is reform. As I had mentioned, that Hindu Dharma is very personal and is individual. We as Hindus have to be practicing Hindus. We have to walk the talk. We all talk about the greatness of Hindu Dharma, but do we walk that way? If we love our Dharma, we must live our Dharma. Whether it's vegetarianism, whether it's traditions, whether it's puja, whether it's reading scriptures, we have to keep the Dharma alive in our own personal lives. It's not about reforming the world, it's about reforming our lives, aligning with the pure and peaceful ways of Hindu Dharma. Whichever sampradaya you believe in, to be true and to be useful and resourceful is very important as a part of living the Dharma. In that way, each one of us will become the poster boy or the poster girl, the ambassador of the living Hindu Dharma. Perhaps this is the best way of creating awareness and resurgence. When people look at practicing Hindus and they feel how peaceful they are, how kind and gentle they are, what a lovely human being, that is the best proof or certificate we can give to the Dharma that we love and live. Our spiritual guru, His Holiness Mahant Swami Maharaj, often says, the true worth and measure of a religion is the life of the follower. When the follower practices it, he just raises the credibility of that faith and of that Dharma in the eyes of the world. Over and above informing others, reforming ourselves, the Hindu Dharma has the potential of transforming the world. At no point in history, Hindu Dharma has been more relevant and more necessary for the survival of mankind. Environmentalists tell us that without reconnecting with environment, without establishing a relationship between man and nature, it would be impossible for us to survive. This has been the age-old wisdom of our Dharma when we talk about worshipping nature, valuing rivers, mountains, air, water. It's an idea that will take mankind to the future, whether it's health, Ayurveda, yoga, whether it's meditation that astronauts are really exploring to overcome loneliness in deep space, whether it's social campaigns which are based on peace and non-violence. More than that, look at science. Theoretical physicists have told us that when we start studying atomic world and subatomic particles, the only thing that can penetrate to that level and observe is the mind. Once again, the scientists will have to be trained in the field of the mind to be able to observe everything at that level. Which religion has done the maximum research experiments and sadhana on the mind? Hindu Dharma. Even architecture. After building homes and buildings, people are turning to Vastu for creating peace in the homes that they create. Every which way we look, we find that the ideas, whether they are philosophical, whether they are simple values, they help reconnect man for the survival of mankind. For spiritual resurgence, who is equally as important as the what and the how? Who can help in regenerating the values of Hindu Dharma? Of course, it's us, individuals and institutions. We may be wonderful human beings and organizations, serving in different fields in their unique way. But if we cannot come together into creating a shared value system, in supporting and strengthening each other, then we may not be able to go far and reach far. You look at the world today, that society and civilization has grown because of sharing of ideas, sharing of strengths, collective efforts, and combined goals. And I believe that the World Hindu Conference has been able to provide that platform for wonderful organizations and institutions to come together, share their values and experience, and grow further from each other's strength. The most classic example I would like to point out to you is of man as a species. Individually, man is nothing compared to many other species on this earth. We are not the fastest. We are perhaps not the most fearless. We are not the most brave or the most powerful. Imagine you lock in a man with a cat or a woman with a simple cockroach inside a room. We would find it difficult to survive or even overcome our personal fears. Take a man and put him in the weather outside, in complete rain and cold. A cow would never catch pneumonia, while man would. Despite the fact we say we are from nature, what are our rates of survival alone in a forest? We find it difficult to stand against microbes and bacteria, and even insects and venoms. So individually, we are not the most powerful or the strongest, but look at the world today. Man has emerged as a very strong and most influential species on this earth. Because of our ability to connect to each other, to create a common mindset, to recognize ourselves as a combined human race. Because of our ability to connect, to combine, to create an environment, whether it's imaginary, idealistic, or whether it's just connecting through goals, that has given us the most important ability to sail over and overcome any challenges that comes in our way. And I believe individually man is nothing, but collectively he has become one of the most powerful species that God has created. Similarly, if we continue to remain as just individual and unique institutions doing great work, our survival, sustenance, as we say, resurgence, will only be limited. We can come together and share our successes, strengths, share common goals, and make a collective effort for raising the visibility, the credibility, and the workability of Hindu Dharma. We need to inform, reform, and transform. So far as growth and development is concerned, so far as survival and sustenance is concerned, our spiritual head, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, often gave a simple example. That once there was an emperor and he wanted to find a suitable heir to his empire from amongst his 3 sons. He gave each of the princes a bag full of seed and said that I'm going out for 10 years. Once I return, I'll come back and ask for the seeds. After 10 years, the emperor returns. He meets the first prince and says, "Where are the seeds?" The first prince so happily smiles and takes him into a chamber within a chamber within a chamber, which was guarded by 4 of his best guards. He opens that last chamber and gives him the seeds back as they were given to him. Smilingly says that these have been kept preserved. As you had given me, I return them back. The emperor smiles, knowing that his first prince was able to take care of the seeds that he had given. He meets the second prince, and the second prince says that, "Father, of course you had given me a bag full of seeds, but I knew when you come back after 10 years, those same seeds would be useless. After 10 years, you can't eat them. You can't do anything with them. So every year I renewed them. The number of seeds I renewed year after year after year. So here is your bag of seeds, fully fresh and renewed." The emperor smiled and he thought, wow, this prince has greater knowledge and importance of what life is. He happily returns back and then goes to meet the third prince. The third prince, when he asks him, "Where are the bag of seeds?" the third prince takes him through the palace into the back garden and shows him a whole new forest of beautiful trees. The emperor is puzzled and looks at him and he asks, "What is this?" He says, "Father, this forest that you see are the direct result of the seeds that you had given me. I planted them, nourished them, nurtured them, and they've grown into wonderful trees which would give me more and more seeds. This is how I have not just preserved, not just renewed, but I have developed the seeds that you had given me. Naturally, the emperor gives the kingdom to his third son, who has the vision of not just preservation, not just reformation, but had the ability of transformation. Resurgence of any spiritual ideals would be not just keeping those spiritual ideals in our scriptures and in our talks, not just using those spiritual ideals in trying to prove ourselves as better, but actually imbibing, emulating, living those spiritual ideals in one's lives and planting the seeds of those spiritual ideas into the life around us to help the world grow into beautiful, pure and peaceful lives. I believe this is how resurgence or growth or development of any spiritual idea should be done, not through compulsion, but through love, through peace, growing together and living together. I also feel that one of the most important ideal that our present Guru, Mahant Swami Maharaj, he emphasizes again and again, is about unity. He puts emphasis on Samp, meaning unity, Surat Bhav, meaning living for one another, and Ekta, meaning oneness. If together we can share the strengths and successes of each other, if together we can combine our efforts to create a more peaceful and beneficial world for everyone, and if together we can connect not just with each other, but with the world around us and to the heavens above us, then we shall be able to do perhaps the greatest service, not just to Hindu Dharma, but to mankind.